Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have my lovely sister Jasmine here with me again today, and we've got some funny stories to tell you. Yeah. One thing I will say is that you and I pride ourselves of doing things ourselves.
Yes, definitely.
So
whether that's spray tan, hair color, makeup, anything.
Yeah, we do everything ourselves, like nails, whatever. It's all ourselves. But I think we've perfected most things, but there's always room for error, and error has definitely happened along the way. So we've got some funny stories to share with you today. The first one being, I think, yours, because it was the earliest in like the sequence of life, where you decided that if you give your hair a trim,
why not give your eyelashes a trim? Okay, but I was like 6 years old, maybe 8, I don't know, something like that. But to me, to a 6-year-old, that logic makes sense. If you trim your hair and it's supposed to grow back thicker and longer, why don't you trim your eyelashes? And at the same time, I chose to take a pair of scissors to my eyelashes. I did it to my baby doll as well, like my favorite doll that I played with all the time. But I still have to defend myself, because to a 6-year-old that logic makes sense.
It does, and especially you thought you were doing yourself a favor and your doll a favor.
And I had a long-term insecurity because I didn't have any hair up until I was like 3 years old. I was like a naked mole rat, and my mom used to put these headbands on me with huge flowers, and I only started growing hair at like 3. So when it came to the hair thing, I was very touchy. I was like, I'm trying to grow my hair, let me trim it. I'm trying to grow my eyelashes, let me trim it. But
yeah, it was also very scary because the scissors that you used were so sharp. They were fabric scissors, but particular fabric scissors that end in a point, they don't end in a curve. So scarily dangerous for a little child to be putting anywhere near their face.
I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, but the eyelashes grew back, and you've actually got jet black eyelashes, and they're pretty long. So
and my hair's not doing too bad either.
Yeah, so we worked ourselves out on that one. The next story I think I have to share is probably when I was in matric. So for those of you that aren't in South Africa, matric is your final year of school. And I was so stressed and preoccupied with studying, but in desperate need of a wax. And so I didn't want to lose any time from my studying.
Going and booking a wax.
And dealing with sitting in the salon, waiting for them running late or whatnot. So I decided, okay, we're going to wax at home. So I had bought myself a pot of wax that you heated on the stove. And so I heated it, but somehow there was an air bubble in the packaging. And so
as you're melting the wax, the air bubble is going to come up towards the surface.
And I leaned over, big mistake, to check that the wax was melting, and it actually burst onto my head.
Like, boo!
Yeah.
On the front of her forehead, like right between the eyes.
It was, thank heavens it didn't go in my eyes, because who the hell knows what would happen.
No.
But it was on my eyebrow, it was like down here, and my immediate reaction was to wipe it off, which is so dangerous because it's such hot liquid.
And then the skin goes with it. It's just like...
So it was literally as though I was wiping part of my face away, because as I wiped the stuff off, the skin just went with it as well. And then my dad happened to arrive home from work.
My dad was so panicked.
Yeah, he happened to arrive home just after it had happened. So I was in the process of wiping off my skin. And he said, do not touch anything. Got me in the car, took me to the hospital, which is just, it's not very far from our family house. And there they treated it, but it was so embarrassing, because then I had to
go through the history of what happened. I'm a nurse, so I know what questions they would have asked, and the person sitting there taking the history is like, girl, why did you do this to yourself?
But it was also so embarrassing with the after effect that I had to have this gauze plastered to my forehead so that I didn't scar. and then a bandage wrapped around my head like a mummy.
No, but we were really worried about it scarring. It hit her like right here. Right
so it pulled
here.
off all the
Do you
skin
still
over
have,
here.
like,
I don't have a single
you
scar.
don't.
I don't have
Nothing.
one single scar. And
Thank goodness. But that's what Dad was worried about.
Yeah.
Because it was on her face. It was really hot. That wax, when you heat it, my word, that could have ended badly.
Yeah, so that was the last time I ever used wax that you do at home, other than that one that you rub like this and you use it on your legs. But that pots of wax, never again, never again.
Be careful,
Be
guys.
careful, don't
You'll
do it.
lose an eyeball.
Don't do it. So yeah, that was a bit horrific, and it was quite hysterical because then I had to go back to school with a bandage wrapped around.
And I remember Leanne and I used to go to church, and then for like a few months after this happened, she had to put this ointment on her. So she'd walk around everywhere, and then before we got out the car, she'd say, oh wait, I have to put my ointment on. And then walk around with this like oily patch, but I suppose it's better than a scar.
Yeah, absolutely, it worked.
You gotta do what you gotta do, and it did work. Yeah.
But, oh, how embarrassing.
So I have a really bad waxing related story since we're on the topic, but this is so embarrassing. So a couple years ago, I was like a pageant girl. I love doing beauty pageants. I used to do them like almost every weekend and took them really seriously. I'm so happy that's behind me. But the preparation for one, if you don't know, is like pretty grueling, and your aim is kind of to look perfect from head to toe. You want to be on top of it. And I was preparing for an upcoming pageant where one of the items in the pageant was like a walk in a bikini, and then later on you do a walk in like your evening pageant dress that everyone knows related to pageants. So going into this pageant, you want to look fantastic when you are in your swimwear for your bikini round. It's like you want to be tan and like the body glitter and everything must be snatched to perfection. So during my preparation, I'm like, okay, well, I need to like get a bikini wax, but also like Leanne said, we prefer to do stuff ourselves. And I've never done one before, but I went and bought, you can buy like little wax strips.
Yeah.
They're like little pink wax strips. And I think they meant for like your moustache area, and some people do their eyebrows with them, your underarm, and then your bikini line. So they're like little pink strips of wax. You peel the paper off, apply it to your skin, and then rip. Okay, well, I had never done one before. I didn't know what I was doing. But I'm like, how hard can this be? This isn't that difficult, right? And the pageant I was doing, the setup at the pageant is the stage that contestants walk on is set to a higher level than the judges. So the judges are down and the stage is up. So if a judge looks up and like looks right at your crotch, you need to have handled that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So I'm getting ready, I'm doing this wax. And I didn't know what I was doing, guys. Like, I didn't know. I read the instructions, but I didn't think it was going to be that difficult. And what I've learned, because my best friend is studying cosmetology, so she's studying beauty, the hair, the makeup, the everything, one woman show. And what she's told me since then is that when you study cosmetology, you actually learn when you do waxing that depending on which part of the body you're waxing, which way to pull the skin before you rip the wax off, because you want to support the skin, obviously, make it as painless as possible if you can do that, and then obviously not cause damage to the skin. I didn't know any of this. I just ripped. I think on some of them, I wasn't even supporting my skin, never mind pushing your skin in the correct direction. I just went for it. Okay. So afterwards, when you've survived the initial shock of ripping these things off,
so painful.
I was like bleeding from where the hairs had come out. Like the bottom of the hair follicle, I was bleeding. It was that bad because I had ripped so hard. I was so sore. I was bleeding out of those little spots, and then it formed like little bruises. So I properly had like a normal bruise, but these tiny ones, like at the bottom of where every hair would have come out, that's what I was dealing with. It was fantastic.
But how did the pageant go?
I won, so.
So it was worth
You know, a spray tan can cover a multitude of sins. It worked out, but I will never do that again. It was so painful.
So I have another embarrassing story, and it was actually when you and I were both single, and we decided, as single girls do, to hit the club.
Yes.
And so we had plenty of time on our hands because we were single girls, and we went out to the max, and hair done, tans done,
every weekend.
everything is done. So I had my lashes on. And then we're out at the club, and it actually turned out to be the night that I met Ryan, or that we met Ryan. And my eyelash popped off. So now
or like half of it.
Yes, so it half popped off. So it was the inner corner that actually lifted.
Yeah, which it often does. I mean, if you wear lashes,
Yeah, but it was noticeable. And
it's like flapping in the wind.
A little bit awkward when you've met this guy that's like interested in you, and it's like such early days, and 5 minutes into it your eyelash is like and so then I look at my sister, because I didn't have my lash glue with me, and normally
which is the biggest mistake. If you're wearing eyelashes, you always take your glue. True. Like you have to. You can't play around.
I thought I had cemented them on that particular night, because I usually walk around with my lash glue, and that night I just didn't.
Such bad luck.
Anyway, so then I turn to Jasmine and I say to her, "Oh my gosh, my lashes are coming off." She just looks at me and goes straight to my eye and yanks it off, and yanks off the other one. But the problem, if you're wearing lashes and you've got a bold liner, that when you yank it off, then the bottom of your liner comes off too. So then
but what was I supposed to have done? I couldn't leave it like flapping around like this. And if I took the one off, and then you look like what's happening? You have a huge eye, and then this one looks like you have a lazy eye. What would you have liked me to do?
But it came with no warning. You just went,
I apologize. I'm sorry.
But this is Jasmine for you. But anyway, we got the guy. The guy's still around.
Yes, he's still around a few years later, so it wasn't that big of a deal. You did fine.
It was just embarrassing. In the moment when you're so self-conscious.
Yeah, what was I supposed to have done? I'm sorry.
It needed to happen.
It needed to
happen, because this half eyelash, when you've just met this guy, is not on.
Like
not
you
on.
in the time, and your eyelashes like ding ding ding. That doesn't work. Okay, my next story is like very stressful. It still gives me anxiety when I think about it. So my natural hair color is actually kind of like Leanne's, but with like a little bit more blonde in it. It's actually really dark compared to the color that I am now. But I have been dyeing my hair myself since like the beginning. This was like 4 years ago, I think I started going blonde. But I've never had my hair colored in a hair salon, ever. I've always done it with the box dyes myself at home. I think it was like our mom used to color her hair herself like all the time.
Yeah, she was exactly like us. She did everything herself as well.
So when I knew I wanted to start dyeing my hair, I was like, you know what, I think it's a good thing. Let me learn how to do it. So I was pretty good about it, because, there's so many mistakes that happen when you go from being really dark to trying to be really blonde in one go. I knew that was the case, and for that reason I took it like really step by step, and I progressively went blonde. So I had gone blonde probably over like a year or a year and a half, and I finally got to a color I really liked. I'd used lots of different dyes along the way to get to the color that I had, but I'd never had like a dyeing accident or a drama. I was always really happy with the results. So there comes a day where I'm going to do my roots. I actually have to do my roots again. They're like darker than the pits of hell, but I'll get there when I get there. Oh, dark.
They look good.
All right. So I was coming to do my roots like I do like every month, but I thought, let me go back a shade darker than the blonde I was at the time. And funny enough, it was a shade of blonde that I had used before in the process of going blonde. So it's not like a color I had never come into contact with. It's the same brand I always use, same color. Well, not the same color, but I had used it previously. And I decided, let me go one shade darker and redo like my whole hair with this color. So I buy the dye, I do it. I don't know what happened. I still don't know what happened. For some reason, my current color must have reacted weird with the shade I was trying to go. And when I washed the dye out, my hair had this like gray tint to it. It was not blonde. It was not even like dark blonde. It had, like, if you have cats, like we have cats, I know, the gray that is cat food, like that, the meat cat food, that color gray when it comes out the tin, if you have cats, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That was the shade of my hair. I don't know why. I had used the color before. Okay, so I thought the world was ending. If you've ever had a bad haircut or had a bad color, you really think the world is ending.
Yeah.
I phoned my boyfriend like hysterical. I was crying my eyes out. And he's like the sweetest person. He was like, just wait, I'm driving to your house. We'll sort it out. I was like, what are you going to do? You know nothing about color. But I was so hysterical. I was like, what did I do? I was so upset. So he gets to my house and I'm trying to like maintain my composure while I phone my hairdresser who had only ever cut my hair. Because like I said, I never got my hair dyed at a salon. And I'm trying to hold it together while I speak to the receptionist to try and get an appointment ASAP, even though it's like a Friday and they probably fully booked. So I'm like choking at my tears there, and I explained to her, I've had an emergency, I have a problem, I need to see a stylist, and I'm explaining what happened. And the receptionist is like, okay, please hold. And I'm like, She went and got one of the hairdressers to come and speak to me on the phone. I explained my story, and now I'm like really getting emotional because I'm so stressed. And this hairdresser was so nice. Thank goodness for her. She's like, okay, I will squeeze you in, come in, and I'll have to take a look at it. Because she obviously couldn't tell me on the phone whether they're going to have to strip the color, re-dye my hair, or what we were going to do. So my boyfriend, he's so cute. He drove me to my appointment because I was so stressed out, and he sat and waited there the whole time I was getting my hair done. Thank goodness for that hairdresser. She basically just put like a toner on my hair, left it on for like 20 minutes, and it basically lifted the color that I had done. And I mean, from then on, I've only ever used the one color. So if that ever gets discontinued, I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people have had that.
Have hair problems. Whether it's a bad haircut, someone might cut your bangs wrong, you cut your fringe wrong, whatever. It is so stressful because you really can't cover it up that well.
No,
you really can't.
And it's your hair. You take pride in your hair. I mean, I know I do. I feel like it's part of my personality. Yes. So if anything were to happen with it, and that's also partially the reason why I don't let anybody else do stuff to me, because I'd rather muck it up myself than have somebody else muck it up and then me have to fork out a ton for their mistakes. Yeah. So I'm just not about that life.
It's not great either way. No, it's so stressful.
It's so stressful. But hysterical looking back at it.
Anyway.
I think the next beauty fail that I have, it's not really a beauty fail, but so Jasmine and I are lily white. We are so pale. We're basically transparent, and it's our English background, but we just work with it. So
color of milk.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tanning is our friend, but I mean tanning in a bottle. So we can spray tan like nobody's business. Yeah. We've got it down. We've got paint rollers. We know what we're doing. Like if you need a spray tan, these girls can sort it out. And that's another thing we do to ourselves. We don't go for spray tans. No. We spray tan ourselves. No. Anyway, so apart from like a couple blotched pieces on my hand on occasion,
which is manageable.
That's manageable. That. Yeah. So that's just the safest route for us because we're so pale. So that's why we tend to do our own tanning. And then we went to Zanzibar once you finished school. Yes. We went just the two of us for an island holiday, and it was so much fun.
So fun.
But in Zanzibar, the sand is completely white, so the reflection off the sea and
will burn you on its own. Yeah. Never mind the actual sun beating down on you. The sand reflection will get you.
So now we are more than aware of our skin's condition and the fact that we are so pale and we need to take as many precautions as possible. So we had spent the day lying on the sun deck, drinking our drinks, but under complete shade and plastered in factor 50 from head to toe. Yeah. And we kept reapplying, just as you should. And then we realized we are completely sunburned. So the reflection of the sand, not the water, it actually caught us.
Yeah.
And it got us good. We were roasted. Like, after, if you imagine Sebastian from The Little Mermaid, that was Jasmine and I. So it actually prevented us from even leaving the hotel room the next day. We spent
and we were only there for like a week. So one of them was spent hiding out in our hotel. I think we were watching like one of the Barbie movies was on.
Disney movies,
or like The Little Pony or something.
I think we just watched movie after movie after movie because there was no way we were leaving the room. Our skin was burning, but like hot.
Bad.
We didn't even want the sheet on the bed to touch you because
we just blasted the aircon and like lay on top of the bed.
It was terrible. And then the next day when we left the room, all the other guests said, "Oh, where were you yesterday?" And we had to explain, "Oh no, we were so sunburnt that we actually lost a day."
Unfortunately.
But the thing that we have discovered, that when you are terribly sunburnt, as happens to us because we are so pale.
I've had so many bad burns in my life. So it's really bad.
The saving grace that we have found is baby bum cream.
Yes.
So lying there in Zanzibar on an island, all glam. No, we were covered head to toe.
You guys, it works though. Like that tube that you can buy, there's like a bunch of different brands that most of them have similar ingredients. If you plaster yourself in it, it's so thick, it's like glue.
Yeah.
But it's meant for babies who have like nappy rash and things like that to control the inflammation. Oh my word, it works so well. So now on like every trip we go where there's a chance that you're gonna get burned, we'll try not to. But we still, like, I went away to the coast with my boyfriend and he got really burned. And I like forced him to use the bum cream. I was like plastering it everywhere. It works so well.
And had it not been for that bum cream, I promise you the rest of our holiday probably would have been
like burned. Forget the aloe vera and the what and the what. Just go for the bum cream. It works like you have no idea. Lesson learned.
That's a true tip from a pale girl.
We've been there. I've been burnt many times, so we know what to do.
And that is also why we tan ourselves. We don't.
There were even times when I was little and I got burnt. And apparently it's good to bath in vinegar. Yeah. My grandma used to put me in like a vinegar bath. You smell like salad dressing for the next week.
So
it was
delicious.
In my hair. I've tried everything. I've had such bad burns.
But that bum cream works really well.
Yeah, lesson learned.
Lesson learned.
So my other story, if you're a sensitive viewer, you may want to like leave now because I don't want to scare you. But this story, so I was, it was during high school. I had such bad skin. Like I had such bad acne. It had gone on for like 2 years before I eventually gave up. Because I think anyone who's had bad skin, you go through a process of trying everything you can get your hands on, whatever face wash, whatever.
Facial.
You try everything. And it just, nothing was helping. Yeah. And it got to a point where I was like, I literally cannot do it anymore. My skin, you guys, was so bad. So I ended up going to a doctor and I was put on Racutan or Accutane. Everyone knows it as something different. But
pretty standard acne treatment.
Medication. Yeah, it's basically a very high dose of vitamin A.
Yeah.
So I got put on that. I think in total I was on it for maybe like 2 years. It made the biggest difference after I got off it. But obviously, if you've been on it or if you know someone who's been on it, one of the biggest side effects is that it dries you out.
Yeah.
Which it's supposed to, because it's supposed to soak up the extra oil in your skin that's causing such bad skin problems. But the levels of dry, like, oh my word, your face like is gonna fall off. Like my lips, my
flaking.
Oh my gosh, like if I would speak too fast, I'm sure a little skin flake would have made its way.
I remember you actually holding your lips when you were talking because you didn't want them to like scratch your crack.
Like your eyes. Oh, I'd be in the car with the aircon on and just the aircon blowing your eyes. You probably wouldn't notice if you're not on this medication, but because I was oh, my eyeballs were so dry. It was so sore. I can remember even my hair, like nothing gets oily. Your hair would
you
be
can
fine.
go forever without
You
washing.
wouldn't have to go like fix your hair for so long because you weren't producing any oil. But one of the things that comes with this, like I say, your eyes get so dry. So like, you know where you line the inside of your eye, like your lower lash line, your waterline. Lots of people put black there, or like I most commonly put white inside. You guys, that used to peel. Like this strip in here, like in here. No, I know. It was bad. So you try putting eyeliner on, and the whole time on your pencil, you collecting skin that's
like
peeling off the inside of your eyeball. Right here. Like, the skin would come off. I could literally pull it like this.
Oh.
And it used to come off. It wasn't even sore. It wasn't even sore. It was so dry and, like, loose that any kind of movement, it would all come off. I was, like, flaky as anything. But I love that medication. Oh, my word, it changed my life.
Changed your life.
Once I got off it, you have no idea how bad my skin was.
Like your confidence.
And just like nothing else was working, the time had come where I had to try the medication. But I'm totally an advocate for it. Yes, it was.
You had exhausted all your other means.
Exactly. So the side effects are rough. If you're sitting there now with like your peeling lips and you like the desert, I feel you. I've been there for 2 years.
Yeah, but it really changed your life.
No,
so if you're on Roaccutane at the moment and you're suffering a bit,
I feel you.
Bear with it because Jasmine's
just like plaster yourself with like cream as much as you can. Lots of oils
and oily foods.
You'll be fine. Yeah. You'll get there.
You'll get there. Yeah. Yes. So stick it out. We might have a couple of beauty fails along the way, but it's a work in progress. Just think of it like that.
Such a disaster.
I think the last story I have to tell is obviously I've got long hair. I've always had long hair. And I love styling my hair. Obviously, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you see that occasionally that I'll have hair tips, and my hair is always styled. I just love it that way. And I have always wanted to perfect the blow dry.
I can't blow dry my hair. Just like this is all hair tongs.
So from time to time, I have tried to work it out.
Hard.
And on long hair,
no, it's
blow
impossible.
drying your own hair is pretty difficult.
Even on my hair, I can't do it. So on her hair,
because
then your brush is like up here. If you're trying to get it up here,
so if you're trying to blow out here, it's basically
you have to have arms like Arnold Schwarzenegger to be able to do your brush.
So it's tough. Anyway, so I was trying to teach myself as we do because we do everything ourselves.
Yeah.
And sometimes
good or a bad thing, I'm not sure.
I don't know after this video.
Maybe rethink this.
But so I was trying to do my blow dry with those curling brushes or those
the blow dry brushes, like the big round ones.
Yeah, big round brush. And I'd actually got it caught in my hair, and I got it caught at the root. So I had rolled it up, and I'd actually got it stuck, and I couldn't get it out. And flat panic because it was a big chunk of hair, and it was like right over here. And I actually thought that I was going to have to cut it out.
Well, no, so Leanne was in one of the bedrooms upstairs in our house, and I had come home with my grandmother. I was still, like, really young. I walk upstairs, Leanne had closed the door. Like, I don't care. I walk in, and as soon as I walked in, she, like, put a pillow, like, over her head, and I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, what are you doing? But I just left it, and I went back downstairs. Eventually, she told my gran what had happened. Leanne's like, we're gonna have to cut my hair. And her hair's like long like it is now. It was still like that back then. And Leanne's hysterical. She's like, we're gonna have to cut it out. Like, we cannot get this out. My grandma is like, no, we will figure this out. She put I think she put lots of conditioner in it or something to like loosen the hair.
Bit by bit.
And then went for it. But it was so bad. It was
very
so
distressing.
mangled. And because she had been struggling to get it out, then you just cause more damage because it gets more stuck in your hair.
But I have to say, I perfected the blow dry.
No,
I've got it right.
You can teach me. I'm useless.
I can do it, and I can do it on myself and my long hair, and I can make it happen. So perseverance and a couple
Got
times
there.
getting it stuck
One
in your
lesson at a
hair.
time.
Yeah, it is distressing, but it's well worth it when you actually have the skills to be able to do it and not have to go to a salon to do that kind of thing. I think
And
the
way
reason
cheaper.
we do this is because A, it's cheaper and we're just cheap.
Cheapers.
And, but B, you get so much satisfaction out of doing
it
these
yourself.
kind of things
Because then also you
yourself.
can do it how you want it.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. So often we talk about like what we would do for a wedding and whatnot, and we often say, well, we'll do it ourselves.
No,
so
I'll
like,
totally do it myself.
We know what we like. We know what looks best on us. So why would we let somebody else?
No, I'll never.
these things?
I'll totally do everything
Yeah.
myself.
So I think all these beauty fails that we've been through have been like a pretty horrific and hysterical as we go along. But they're all learning curves, so yeah. When you see all those pictures on Instagram and they look so perfect, just bear with us. Like there's stuff that's happened
all
in the
those
background.
Instagram girls where I'm like, they are so banging. I'm sure they've also like had their struggles. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt. So I don't know. I think it's just hysterical to look back on these things. When these things happen, it's terrible.
You think
it's
the
so
world's
embarrassing.
ending. It's
a bandage wrapped around my head and I have to go to school like that. That is mortifying. Absolutely mortifying. But funny to look back on now.
Yeah, really funny.
Lesson learned.
Yes, definitely.
Anyway, thank you so much, Jess, for making a comeback on my channel. It's always so great to have you. And I think that we need to have her on my channel some more. So leave a comment down below if you love Jazz as much as I do, because she's my everything. She's my ride or die. And I'm going to leave her Instagram handle right over here.
Say hi.
Yeah, go say hi. And thank you so much for watching, as always. Leave a comment down below, give us a like, and we will see you again soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.